if they can go out and execute. So to me, what that game proved on Monday night and what we've seen throughout the season is that the Saints should be able to hang with anyone if they are at the top of their game.
Now, Yoder, Central Ohio's biggest Saints fan now as we make our way through to what's really important after a weekend like this weekend. Around here, it just seemed, Matt, that from the people that we ran into and saw that the Saints could have gotten beaten by Atlanta 98-0. And people would have still come to work on Monday with a smile on their face based on what LSU did Saturday night. And so how did the LSU-Alabama game play in Columbus?
It's funny. There was a story I saw about all of the LSU flags throughout southeast Ohio from where Joe Burrow was from, down there in the plains and by Athens, and how a lot of Ohio State fans have really adopted this team and Joe Burrow. And, around here, Tim, of course, the big story of the week was Chase Young and this ludicrous NCAA suspension, just the nonsense revolving around that.
Yes.
And I think we all expect, it's going to get whittled down to 2 games, whatever the final punishment is. The NCAA is not going to have him on the sidelines for a game against Penn State and a game against Michigan. So what it comes down to is basically he's going to have a 2-week break against Rutgers and Maryland. And by the way, in case your listeners did not notice, Ohio State did not miss Chase Young against Maryland.
No, they
In fact, I think I saw that during the game, a Maryland commit from Chase Young's high school decommitted to Maryland while Ohio State was putting up 279 points against them. So the one downside to that, though, was a lot of folks around here thinking, well, sucks for Chase because his chances of winning the Heisman are gone. And that was really the big thing, that here you have a guy who could win every award on offer this season, and that's really put in jeopardy by the foolishness of the NCAA. But then you come to Saturday and say, well, given Joe Burrow's performance, I don't think Chase Young was winning the Heisman anyway. I think they can go ahead and cement that trophy for him because he played him one of the finest games I've ever seen out of a college quarterback on Saturday. And I don't say that as an overstatement. I mean, you're talking Vince Young in the Rose Bowl against the USC. Put up any performance you want. I would put Joe Burrow against Alabama up there. The throws, the plays with his feet, his ability to elude pressure, that to me, Tim, was what was amazing about that game. How many times he was able to escape the pocket against Alabama. And I just marvel at what he produced because, Tim, I know a lot of people up here thought very highly of Joe Burrow, that he could be, an Ohio guy, could be the face of the program, but, it didn't work out for him here. He had the injury when he was competing with Dwayne Haskins. Of course, Haskins was all-world his 1 year as a starter. I don't know if even the most ardent Joe Burrow fans thought he had this in him. Heisman Trophy, maybe number 1 overall pick, going on the road, 31 of 39, 393, 3 touchdowns against Alabama. So I think everyone around here was so excited to see him have that moment. And for Coach O, for that streak to end, to get the win in Tuscaloosa, to do it the way they did, just phenomenal.
I assume Urban Meyer is going to try to get that Heisman Trophy displayed in his tavern and take some credit for it. If we hadn't been convinced to give him a scholarship and then treat him with ill respect while he was here, he wouldn't have been the man that he is right now.
You can really say Ohio State made him the quarterback.
Absolutely. Of course you can.
Today.
I completely agree. Now, here's the deal. You bring up old Chase Young, okay? He's probably going to have his suspension cut from 4 to 2, maybe, or 4 to 3. So we know he's going to miss Maryland and Rutgers. How they'll survive the Rutgers game without him, I don't know. Here's my deal about Chase Young being a Heisman Trophy candidate. It's laughable. It's a joke. Here's the deal. Not because he's Chase Young in Ohio State, but he's a defensive end, okay? Yeah, you can be the greatest defensive end, but the game is not in your hands on every single play. You don't make things happen. You can be schemed out of the play. You can run away from the guy, and I know that some people say, well, doesn't that make you more valuable if they're having to change a game plan because of you? But you're still not making the plays. If you're the right defensive end, all of a sudden, guess where I'm going? I'm running to the right side of the offensive line. I'm going to roll to the right so that you're not going to be able to come get me. And so then if I wanted to, I could make it to where Chase Young has 0 sacks if I wanted to just completely negate your effect. You cannot negate the effect of a quarterback or a running back, really, in a game, because there's always a way that you can make something happen offensively. So I always thought it was just kind of the guy's really good. I'm not saying that he's Bosa good, Jadeveon Clowney good in college. Who knows? He may be better than any of them or not. He's a really good college football player. But I'm not saying he's a transcendent defensive lineman like some people are. I just don't see that. I think he's really good, but it's come against, Northwestern, Michigan State, Nebraska, Miami of Ohio, Indiana, Florida Atlantic, Cincinnati. The only game that has been of any consequence, and this is the Southerner ripping into the Midwesterner here, is Wisconsin. I mean, that's it. That's the only game where you're like, wow, okay, Ohio State.
Which, by the way, Tim, in that game, Chase Young was the best and most dominant player on the field.
He was, because Wisconsin's an idiot. Why they kept doing the things they did was just, I'm like, why do you keep letting this guy just kill you? Move your quarterback that away. You drop him back, guess what's going to happen? Chase Young's going to kill you because he is. He's very good at what he does. But I'm like, I don't know if Jack Cohn has lost a bet with his coach, but they sure seem to just want to make sure that everything they could possibly do was to make Chase Young, pretty unstoppable. Don't roll that way. Don't drop straight back. Throw shorter passes. Throw quicker passes. Roll out the other way. This is, again, why I should be the offensive coordinator somewhere, Rogers.
I think Arkansas could use you down.
Yeah.
It was funny. I saw my little Facebook news feed, you always see random stuff. It was the Arkansas 4th and 25 conversion against Ole Miss where they had the crazy lateral play and whatever. I think it was 4 years ago. It also happens to be the last time Arkansas was competitive in an SEC game.
That's not very nice of you.
For you this morning.
Not very nice of you. It's just being cruel now. It's like you're the kid with the magnifying glass with the anthill now, aren't you? Just sitting there.
After throwing Chase Young's Heisman candidacy under the bus, I have to throw a little something back to him.
All right, so Matt Yoder, you're a member of the College Football Playoff Committee. Your ballot for the top 7 teams would be whom?
Top 7. Well, it's funny, Tim, and I immediately thought of you last week because I said, hey, LSU should be number 1, and the committee ended up putting Ohio State number 1 and Penn State 4 with that Big Ten bias. Top 7, I think LSU certainly now has to be number 1. OSU at 2. Do you put Clemson 3? I mean, I think you have to, I guess, at this point. And then, Tim, I think at 4, I don't want to see Alabama at number 4. And this is the one thing that I just do not want to see happen above all. I do not want to see the Alabama mulligan happen once again, where they are automatically shoved to the top of the pile of the undefeateds or the one loss or whatever, just because they're Alabama. Alabama has beaten nobody this season. They allowed 46 points on their home field in their biggest rivalry game. Get them out of the conversation for once. Put Minnesota and P.J. Fleck rowing the boat up there at number 4, because if you had Penn State number 4, Minnesota beats them in the biggest game in modern program history.
Yeah. First time since 1934 that they've been 9-0. Is that right?
I believe that sounds right, Tim.
Yeah.
And, they vaulted all the way to number 7 in the polls this week, so I see no reason why you shouldn't put them higher. So I'd go Minnesota 4. Then it's tough for me between Oregon and Georgia. Maybe I'll throw the SEC a bone and put Georgia 5, Oregon 6. And then I'll go Alabama 7. I think Oklahoma's the team. I think Oklahoma's the team that's really hard done by, to me, Tim. They have the one loss against Kansas State. They seem to be behind the 8 ball if you're looking at Penn State, Utah, Oregon, Alabama. I don't know right now what the Big 12's path to the playoff is at the moment.
I don't either.
Because you've got, Oregon and Utah in pretty good shape coming out of the Pac-12, at least looking at the polls and where kind of the first rankings were. Of course, we know, Tim, as we've seen many times before, these rankings are meaningless and the committee can just rearrange them how they want by the final ranking. But that's kind of how I would do it right now. And I hope the committee gives Minnesota the respect they're due for that victory, for what that program is accomplishing under P.J. Fleck. And I hope they just don't keep Alabama in the top 4 because they're Alabama. Those are just my 2 hopes for the committee this week.
And somewhere you've got to start considering Baylor to be a top 7 team. All they've done is line them up and sit them down. And to me, and this is something Adam and Rogers and I talk about, that the committee last week, of course, they throw they want to throw things for a little bit of a loop. They always want to have something to where this conversation, it seems like, whether it's on purpose. I'm not so cynical to think that they get the ballot done and go, wait a minute, this makes too much sense. Quick, hurry up, put somebody up in the top 4 that's going to make someone talk about things. I don't think they necessarily go that way as far as how they rank things. But to me, a conversation starter would be Baylor up there somewhere near the top 4 because here's the way I would look at it. If I'm a committee member, I would say, okay, LSU's my number 1 team. No one's played a tougher schedule. 3 wins on the road and top 25 teams, including a win at Texas, of course, who's now ranked 23rd, a win at Florida, who is ranked 12th, then, of course, the win at Alabama, who is ranked 4th right now in the other polls. That's pretty stinking impressive. And, oh, by the way, how about a home win over Auburn to boot? So you've got all of these wins. There's no doubt about it. LSU's the number 1 team. I don't think there's any doubt about it that you can say Ohio State has played a tougher schedule than Clemson. So, all right, they're undefeated. They're the easily number 2 team. Clemson, defending national champion. They've done nothing to show that they are stopping. They can't help that the teams they play suck. They can't help that Mac Brown couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag in that game and should have beat them. They didn't do it. So here we go. Clemson is number 3. As far as number 4, Minnesota's lined up everyone they can play, and they've beaten them, including a win over the 4th-ranked undefeated Penn State Nittany Lions. There's your number 4 team. Baylor, all they've done is play in a Power 5 conference and win every game that they've been asked to win, and I'd make them number 5. And here's where I would make things interesting. I think that Georgia 6, Oregon 7, or Alabama 7, Oregon 8, Utah 9, Oklahoma 10. Baylor's going to get their shot this Saturday. If you make them 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever, put them up there, though, and if they win, then you're already ahead of the game. You've got Baylor exactly where they should have been. It's going to look kind of silly to me that if the committee has Minnesota and Baylor behind Alabama and or Georgia and or Oregon and or Oklahoma. Because isn't it all about conference championships? Isn't it all about winning your title in your league and just taking care of business as it goes? That's what these 2 major conference teams have done. I think they both should be rewarded right now until they get knocked off. Yes, I think Oklahoma beats Baylor this weekend. Yes, I even think Iowa is going to beat Minnesota this weekend. But as of right now, they should be ranked ahead of Alabama. To me, it's a no-brainer, and I think they should be ranked ahead of Georgia, Oklahoma, Utah, and Oregon as well.
I would love it, Tim, if that were the case, and it was just built on what you've done on the field, because
Florida at
That's
home.
the
Auburn on the road.
argument that those of us in the Midwest have been reaching against, along with the SEC and Alabama as well. Alabama looks good, and Alabama's been good, so therefore Alabama must be good. And it doesn't matter what you do on the field. It doesn't matter, what the numbers are or who your loss is against, or even if you win a conference championship, or even if you play in your conference championship. Oh, well, Alabama looks good, so they're in. To me, that should be fundamentally against everything that sports stands for, because you could look good in a bunch of losses, but you're still losing. Games are not won and lost on style points.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's where Alabama has always had the edge and probably always will under Nick Saban. I just think the committee is going to look at Baylor like they did Minnesota last week and say, all right, look, your best win so far this season, is it Oklahoma State? Is it Iowa State? Kansas State? TCU? I mean, their non-conference schedule was Stephen F. Austin, UT San Antonio, and Rice.
Yes.
They won by 8 points at Rice.
Yes.
To me, Tim, I will fully support Baylor in the top 4 if they beat Oklahoma, but I've got to see them at least win one legitimate game.
I get it.
Before I move them up that high.
I do.
Just like Minnesota. I think Minnesota
deserves to be number 4 right now.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what happened. They were so far down the rankings, and maybe Baylor can play that disrespect card like Minnesota played, but I just need to see at least one win. And maybe it's not fair to apply that standard to Baylor and then look at Clemson, who their strongest win.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe Texas A&M. They were ranked 12th at the time. I know they have a very tough schedule. Boston College, Wofford, NC State,
right.
Florida State, Louisville. I mean, there's a lot of terrible teams.
And this is supposed to be based on this year only, not because Clemson won the national title last year. By the way, I'm so used to LSU playing at Florida. They actually, of course, had Florida at home this year. So 2 wins on the road against top 25 teams, 2 wins at home against then ranked top 10 teams, Florida and Auburn. So that's why I think LSU's resume is second to none. But yeah, you're supposed to be judging it on this year's results, right? And based on this year's results, okay, Alabama lost at home. If Alabama had lost to LSU in Baton Rouge, then maybe I don't drop them to 7. But they lost at home, so that's worthy of knocking you down a peg or 2 further, because that's supposed to be your 6 wins, your 7 wins is right there at home if you're a powerhouse. And so,
well, and Tim, you look at Alabama and again ask the same question: what is their best win? Probably like Clemson, it's against Texas A&M, because the rest of their, Duke, that was their marquee non-conference game this year. Duke, really? Ole Miss, Tennessee, Arkansas, they really got a lot of breaks with their SEC schedule this year. They missed Georgia, they missed Florida. They even missed Missouri, for goodness sake. So I hope that's where the committee doesn't go on reputation alone, because if you look at the teams that Penn State's beaten, that Oregon, even throw Baylor up there, shoot. There's a lot of stronger resumes out there. So that's what I just hope, Tim, is that it's not a situation where Alabama hangs on in the top 4, misses the SEC title game, and then sneaks in the back door once again. That's just a nightmare scenario.
It is. No one wants that. No one should get a mulligan in college football.
Especially if you've got a deserving Baylor, if you've got a deserving Pac-12 champion.
Right.
If, maybe it's going to be tough, I think, for a 2-loss Penn State to have an argument, especially if they don't make the Big Ten title game. But let's say Minnesota goes unbeaten and loses a close game to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. They're going to have an argument. Clemson's probably going to go undefeated and take one of those spots. You hope LSU and Ohio State take another 2. Man, that's going to be a tough debate if it comes down to, say, a 1-loss Pac-12 champion, maybe an undefeated Baylor, or 1-loss Oklahoma champion. I wouldn't want to be the committee this year, Tim, because you can already see it shaping up to be a very, very difficult top 4 choice, and that's if the front 3 stay where they are. If any one of those teams loses, my goodness, the chaos will be extraordinary.
and that's what makes it fun. Matt Yoder, Central Ohio's biggest Saints fan, joining us here from thecomeback.com. What can we expect on thecomeback.com today, sir?
Well, Tim, probably a shocking story, and one of the biggest stories that happened was Don Cherry, the longtime Hockey Night in Canada personality. I mean, been up there for eons and eons. Got axed finally after kind of an ugly anti-immigrant rant. And I know this isn't Don Cherry's first brush with trouble or criticism, but to see him finally get the boot, just kind of one of those end of an era type things. And it's just kind of unfortunate that you see that more and more, that you know, you live long enough to, what is it, Tim? You live long enough to be a hero, you die a villain, something like that. And unfortunately, Don Cherry's going to go out as a villain. So you may know him for his trademark flamboyant and colorful suits, but I think that commentary finally caught up to him. And just kind of sad, you know, when you see something so divisive, and sports should be that area where people are pulled together, but now you've got this controversy playing out and just kind of ends in ugly fashion up there. So they're not immune. You know, you think of Canada and everyone being genteel and very nice, pleasant and polite, but they're not immune to political controversies mixing in with their sports either.
This is true. Matt Yoder, Central Ohio's biggest Saints fan, biggest Chase Young fan, biggest Buckeye
Free Chase
fan.
Young, Tim. Free Chase Young.
Always enjoy our visits, buddy, every single Tuesday, and hopefully we're all in a better mood about the Saints next Tuesday with a win over Tampa Bay.
Boy, let's hope so, Tim, because if not...
Ooh, then the sky is falling. Put in Teddy! Yeah, we'll see what happens, man.
Tim, if it happens next week, then we will have to start working over the next several months to find a way to get Joe Burrow on the Saints roster.
You got that right. We can only dream. We can only dream. Thanks a lot, Matt Yoder.
Thank you, Tim. Always a pleasure.
Before we head a timeout, let's do this. This SEC update is brought to you by Red River Brewing, 1200 Marshall Street in Shreveport. They're open hump day to holy day. Well, a lot of the folks are starting to kind of winnow down their SEC bowl projections, and ESPN's bowl projections, prognosticators Kyle Bonagura and Mark Schlabach have Alabama going to the one going to the Peach Bowl versus LSU in the playoff, another playing against Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. Auburn, Outback Bowl versus Michigan or Outback Bowl versus Penn State. Florida, Citrus Bowl versus Indiana or Citrus Bowl versus Wisconsin. That's ugly. Georgia, Sugar Bowl versus Oklahoma or Orange Bowl versus Virginia Tech. God, the ACC is... Kentucky, Belt Bowl versus Pitt or Music City Bowl versus Miami. Mississippi State, Music City versus Virginia Tech or Belk versus Wake. Tennessee, the Gator Bowl versus Illinois or Iowa. A&M, the Texas Bowl versus Oklahoma State or Kansas State. And both of the prognosticators for ESPN have LSU in the college football playoff. One facing Alabama in the Peach Bowl. The other sees them facing Oregon in the Peach Bowl. This SEC update was brought to you by Red River Brewing. They're open from Tuesday to Holy Day. Red River Brewing, 1200 Marshall Street. Yeah, baby. Good old, I want to make sure you guys are fully aware before we head to the timeout. Our good folks over at Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram got some incredible deals going on right now. Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. I'll tell you what, they've got that new turbo diesel Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. This is amazing. 3-liter turbo diesel in a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. 540 miles of driving range, 30 miles per gallon. It's simply, truly one of a kind. And it's taken a while to get this technology all under one hood, but they've got it done. And my gosh, that sounds like a no-brainer. Employee Pricing Plus is going on right now at Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram during their Employee Plus Pricing Black Friday sales event. Blah, 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 blah. Go Landers.com, your home with a 59-minute car deal. Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, 2701 Benton Road, just south of I-220 underneath the 2,400 square foot American flag. We're expecting to have Eric Conkle with us, head coach for the Louisiana Tech Duncan Dogs, right after this. The Cleanup Hour, hitting fourth. First choice personnel. Make first choice personnel your last call. 797-7810. I literally was walking around one of those big box stores, that sells sporting equipment the other day, and family was looking for helmets.
Yeah.
And little kid who still had Clearasil on his face said, "Over there's the helmets."
They don't know.
They don't know.
What do they know?
They know nothing.
We'll go somewhere where they do know something.
Oh, Sports World.
There.
8809 Joella. Been around since 1973. Hester, they got helmets that can fit our heads.
They do, and they know the needs of the local coaches.
They certainly
These other
do.
places don't.
No, they don't know the local coaches. Sports World. 8809 Joella. Dynamite shrimp. That's what they've got at Rotolo's, crafted, crust, fried, and tossed in that house-made dynamite sauce. They got it. You want it. It's dynamite shrimp at Rotolo's Crafted Crust. They've also got a brand new BBQ Big Boy Burger that will battle the best of them. And how about a fried buffalo chicken sandwich, a Bill sandwich? They even have shrimp tacos and seared tuna tacos now at Rotolo's Crafted Crust, East 70th in Shreveport. It is hot as blue blazes, and no one has got more sizzling opportunities than first choice personnel. Nicole joins us. Hey, Nicole, what's happening?
Hey, Tim. We're looking for production, manufacturing, forklift positions right now. We're always looking for someone looking for a job in the warehouse. Anyone right now looking for a job. We have lots of openings.
Lots of openings. Think about that. A warehouse is big. They need people to fill that warehouse. First choice personnel, 797-7810. Holiday season is here, and that means the holiday cheer is here as well. Eggnog daiquiris at Daiquiri Express. The tastiest, the most flavorful. Nutmeg, cinnamon, eggnog daiquiris at Daiquiri Express, all 5 locations.
Hey, this is Bubba Winningham with Chevyland, and if you're looking for an SUV, a crossover, something that gets good gas mileage, something that 5 people can ride in comfortably, something with good cargo space, then you're looking for the 2019 Chevrolet Equinox. Guess what? We've got like 20 of these things left over. GM has given us 20% off MSRP, and then we're throwing in some extra discounts. So that means you can get over $6,000 off a $30,000 truck. The 2019 Chevrolet Equinox right now for around $25,000 at Chevyland.
Swoop Stores has got you covered with their incredible breakfast. We all know that we love the breakfast biscuits, breakfast burritos, and the breakfast pizza. Don't forget the po' boys. Man, oh man, about 10 o'clock this morning, it doesn't get better than Buster's Daily Bread, and their po' boys are incredible. Swoop, Burt Coombs, just off I-49, across from Home Depot. Brighten your day at Swoop. Local Mudbugs fan, Adam Hester, joining us in studio.
Hello.
Season number 4 in the North American Hockey League.
Of Mudbugs 2.0.
What's your favorite part about the Knoll?
These kids are hungry, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get that scholarship. They're trying to get drafted in some cases. They're trying to get to the next level of hockey and realize their dreams. So I love that about the Knoll.
Gonna eat Mudbugs hockey. Get hungry. The Cleanup Hour, hitting fourth. First choice personnel. Make first choice personnel your last call. 797-7810.
KWKH, Shreveport, Bossier City. 1130 The Tiger, Shreveport and Bossier's #1 sports station.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:30 The Tiger. It's 11 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock on this very chilly Tuesday morning, I'm sorry. If it's a little too chilly at home and you've got that thermostat set at 72 and the air coming out of the vents, nice and toasty warm, why is the heat just running constantly? It could be your insulation. Keep the hot side hot and the cool side cool. It's the old McDLT philosophy. And one way to do that is with the right insulation from Brian Rapolo. Rapolo's Insulation, 865-5113. Keep your money in your account. Don't let those fat cats over at Centerpoint Energy get those ski vacations based on all the money you're funneling towards Centerpoint Energy. They don't need the money. We need the money. Save it with better insulation by calling Brian Rapolo, 865-5113. Joining us now on the Mudbugs Hockey Hotline, your head coach of the Duncan Dogs, the undefeated Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, might I add. 1-0. Eric Conkle on the line. Hello, Eric Conkle. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Fletch. How are you today?
I'm good. So, taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi last week, it seemed like a coasting to a win, 4 fellas in double figures. What did you set out to accomplish outside of the win? What did you want to see your fellows do, and what did they do as far as meeting your expectations in the season opener?
Well, we always want to see some type of improvement in a couple different areas. And, of course, coming off our game against LSU, which was a terrific event here for our community and gave us a lot of really good information, we knew that we were going out on the road and playing a team that we had a close game with here at our place last year. Very hard-playing team. And I just thought that we played well in all phases. We were able to make them miss. We were able to turn them over. We were able to limit them to one shot for the most part, something we still want to get better at. And then we took care of the basketball. And that was really the number one thing offensively that we want to get better at, is just take care of the basketball, get a great shot each time down. And we were able to knock enough of them down and get a good win to start the season on the road.
This week, a couple of games, Wiley College coming over, a nice gesture there to help out Wiley College with a fun game over the Thomas Assembly Center. That game's tonight. The one that is certainly piquing my interest is the Creighton Blue Jays game on Saturday. How did that schedule come into play, though? How did you arrange the Creighton game, and also just 2 weeks from yesterday? 2 weeks from yesterday, you'll be taking on Indiana at Indiana. How did you put together a schedule that includes Creighton, Indiana, Mississippi State? Was that a difficult task, or if you could help us out with that?
Yeah, well, scheduling's difficult every year. It's really a major challenge for everybody. It's a challenge for us in a couple of different ways, where there's so many variables that go into scheduling. One, you're trying to find an opponent on certain dates. We're in final exams right now, Fletch, so today's game, we're not allowed to go on the road. We don't want to go on the road during final exams. We need to be here to take tests and turn things in, and we finish those up on Thursday evening. So then we're allowed to get back out on the road. We'll be out of class for a few weeks, and it's a good time to go on the road so we're not missing class time. But each year we look at a couple different things. There's an opponent variable. There's a date variable. There's a flow where we're trying to play a certain number of home games and road games. And then there's also a financial component, too, where you're playing on the road or playing games at home. You're trying to satisfy all those different things. And Creighton had the date. They had a certain game that we were looking for. They're a very good opponent. It comes out of final exams, so we're not going to be missing class. And we know that they've got a great environment with a really good team, and as does Indiana, as does Mississippi State. And each one of them comes from a little bit different set of circumstances. The Indiana game is one where we play at Indiana, and then we get 3 home games, and then there's some financial considerations that we pay into to make that happen. So a lot of different scenarios that go into putting the schedule together, but I'm appreciative of our staff for staying with it and keep plugging along to put together a really good schedule that'll help prepare us for a great Conference USA season.
Yeah, and it's for those that are trying to figure out a little bit about Creighton, you can watch that game if you're not making your way over to Ruston tonight to check on the Bulldogs taking on Wiley College. If you are kind of hamstrung and you've got to work until 6 o'clock or whatever, Creighton plays Michigan tonight on FS1. So we'll find out a little bit more about Saturday's opponent here tonight when they take on a very good Michigan team, obviously. So as you start kind of building this thing, towards the Conference USA run, you've got a nice experienced team, Eric, coming back. So does that raise your expectations for, hey, we shouldn't have so many, dull moments or drop-offs early in the season? There should be a pretty fine expectation of what they know about you and what you know and expect out of them. So do you have a little bit more of a higher level of expectations for this group in the early season than maybe you did the last couple of years?
Well, I think the expectations always come from, internal, and our expectations in this program are very, very high each and every year. And, our expectation with this group is that our starting point can be a little bit further along because we have so many guys back. That means that we can fine-tune a couple things a little bit earlier, but still the fact is that we've got a number of new players in this program that are playing. 2 freshmen. We've got a junior college transfer. We've got a young man in Caleb Badu who sat out last year as a transfer from McNeese State, and then another transfer in Aaron Gordon. So we've got some new guys that have had to mix in with our returners. We've got an older team. We've got a group of guys that have experienced a lot of different things, but still every single year is different. You got to have quality practices. You got to learn in games, and that's the journey that we're on. And I'm excited about this group. There's no doubt.
Coach Conkle, how has the new 3-point line affected your team so far? Whether it's the exhibition or the win the other night over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, or just in game planning, how has that affected you, if at all?
Well, I don't know how much it's affected us yet, and I think those numbers will have to be calculated over time. We shot the ball well the other night. We didn't shoot it great the night before that, and so much of it, I think, is shot selection. That line it's about 16 inches, and for guys that are great shooters, I don't think it impacts them all that much. I think for the fringe guys that they might be a 1-3 attempt a game type player, where it's something that they've worked on. It's not something that maybe is their bread and butter shot. That might create some pause as to if this is a shot that they should be taking or not. But for our game planning, there has been a couple things that we've looked at from if a team is not a great shooting team, and with the extra space, it could create more opportunities in the post or driving, and talking about our gaps and how we guard penetration and so forth. So I do think it's going to add a couple different variables, but that still remains to be seen. We've got to have more data points as to how it's affecting teams.
Eric Conkle joining us, Louisiana Tech taking on Wiley College tonight. One thing that I've heard before, Eric, as far as when the seasons start, that college basketball would be better served if they started around Christmas time and then played through April, and instead of March Madness, almost have May Madness, to avoid the overlap with so much attention obviously being paid to college football on campus there in Ruston. You got an 8-1 team that's bucking for a top 25 position and maybe playing in a New Year's Six Bowl if things fall the right way and they continue down this path. So a lot of attention is being played to college football all around the country, and so a lot of the college basketball season, the first couple of months are almost brushed over with the college football paintbrush there. Do you like getting started in early November and then finishing up, with March Madness, or do you see the merits of maybe starting a little later and finishing a little later when there's less competition, I guess, for eyeballs?
Well, I think that in college athletics and or even the overall sports landscape, there's a lot of overlap in men's basketball, women's basketball, particularly at the college level. We go over 2 semesters, or at Louisiana Tech, we go over 3 quarters, and it's stretched out. And I don't know that there's another way to do that. Again, these are student athletes. They need to be in class as much as possible. The difference between us, football plays once a week, baseball play a midweek game, but then they'll play 3 straight games on a weekend. We've got travel for one game, and then coming back, or maybe we play Thursday, Saturday in league. And I just think it'd be tough to shrink the season in any point. And then also, if you stretch it out, then you compete with baseball and the other spring sports too. I think there's something magical about March. The national championship has stretched now into April. We've moved up and played the Tuesday now in November, rather than right around November 10th. Mm-hmm. So it's different, and I think that there's a lot of different changes that are happening, but I can't see a time where we would start in around Christmas and going late into the spring. I just think that basketball, with the weather outside, we need something to be indoors, Fletch, and it's a good time to be coming to watch basketball.
That's also true, that 72, 74 degrees and in a nice comfy chair with a box of popcorn and a soda pop, that's not too shabby, as opposed to 25 degrees and swirling winds and long lines at the bathroom and somebody spilling a beer down my back. So, yeah, I kind of like the idea of watching, going into the Thomas Assembly Center and watching some really fun, good basketball. Louisiana Tech taking on Wiley College tonight, 6:30 game, tip time, and then a fun one on Saturday, which is going to be on FS2 television-wise. So the game will be broadcast. Tech at Creighton, an early season stout test for the Bulldogs against the Creighton Blue Jays, a perennial mid-major, really good basketball program. So I'm anxious to see how things roll out for you guys against Creighton, and obviously, hopefully, things go well for you tonight against Wiley out of just over here in East Texas. Eric Conkle, head coach of the Louisiana Tech Duncan Dogs. Enjoy our visits, man. Always have, Eric. So looking forward to a season full of Tech basketball.
Well, thank you so much, Fletch. I always appreciate you having me on.
You betcha. Eric Conkle, the Duncan Conkles. That sounds like something we ought to be able to get at Swoop. Yeah. Like with some icing on it, like a Duncan Conkle. There needs to be a donut in Ruston named the Duncan Conkle. Tech needs to be in their marketing department, Rogers. I could help them. Huh. I could send out reminders, yeah. Maybe a grr, baby, grr. Meow, 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 meow. We were supposed to have Skip Holtz on today, but apparently slipped somebody's mind over in Ruston. So, but he was able to go on to the Monroe station, so good for them. They were able to get Skip at 7:45. So good deal. Not so much here, but here. Yes, to Coach. Yes, LSU played Florida at home. That was, I've become so trained to saying LSU's at Florida. It was 3 years. Yeah, exactly. Bayou Bellway's Trash text line. What I want to see is the coaches poll breakdown of college football. Which coach voted LSU 6th? Yeah, that's just dumb. You know, I mean, which SID voted them 6th? Kachu, that's the deal. Showtime says two of the biggest stats from Saturday, going back to our conversation about Joe Burrow. Burrow only had 8 incompletions against Bama, still a top-tier D, and maybe the biggest stat, not focusing on yardage because he had 2 long touchdowns on busted coverage, but the fact that the LSU defense held Tua to only a 50.5 completion rate and turnover when he's been at 78 to 80% passing, right even with Burrow. Even though the score didn't show it, this was closer to a dominant performance for 3/4 of the game. I agree. Showtime also says Marcus Spears had a great point yesterday. It's almost like Arkansas had an identity crisis, and the players just didn't want to play for Morris. Yeah, in the long term, yeah, they basically quit on him. 318, not saying they deserve it, but until the committee changes the whole best 4 teams way to pick, who would you put money on beating Bama with a healthy Tua? I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be doing, though. You know, if you wanted to, if it's only just about who's got the best, who could beat so-and-so and what the odds would be, then I think we need to change it. You know, let's just don't call it a playoff. Say we're going to put the 4 teams that we think are the best 4 teams together. They don't do it that way. There's going to be a process. Conference championships are supposed to mean more in the new playoff deal. And so even if Oregon and Utah, for instance, remain unscathed the rest of the way, they'll be 11-1 and playing each other in the Pac-12 championship. So somebody, Oregon or Utah, is going to be 12-1 and a conference champion. And if Alabama runs the table, they're 11-1. Alabama would have beaten Auburn in that scenario. Auburn has beaten Oregon. Let's say Oregon wins the Pac-12 title. So what are we supposed to do? You, me, and a lot of people would say, well, Alabama would beat Oregon on a neutral field, maybe even would beat Oregon in Eugene. But Oregon is the Pac-12 champion. So they've got 1 loss to an SEC team. Alabama's got 1 loss to an SEC team. But Alabama played 1 fewer game. They didn't qualify for the conference championship because they didn't win their division. So who do we put in there? I think that until you have if there was a model to where, in this example, what if Alabama had played Oregon in the year, then you have an example. Well, Oregon was the better team. They beat Alabama back in September, or vice versa. Until then, I think the deciding factor is you can't dude, Alabama's better than Oregon. Even if I think that, I've got to go with something that's kind of intangible. Oregon wins their conference championship. They're 12-1. Alabama didn't qualify for the conference championship. They're 11-1. Yeah, I think Alabama would beat Oregon, but I'm putting Oregon in the playoff. I'm fighting for Oregon to be in the playoff in that scenario. Same thing if it's one-loss Oklahoma wins the Big 12 or one-loss Baylor wins the Big 12. I think they should be ranked above Alabama. Draco says maybe Arkansas should be number 4. I said, yeah, if you're counting from the bottom, they probably will be. You got That's good. Rutgers, UMass, Akron, Arkansas. Jones says 12-1 Oregon has to go ahead of Bama. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what the committee's trying to get across to us, which is why, if they're smart, which I'm not saying that they are, you go ahead and put those conference leading teams that are undefeated ahead of a team that just lost at home in a much ballyhooed matchup. If you want to avoid, well, Alabama you drop them to 4 ahead of Baylor and Minnesota, and Alabama wins all their games the rest of the way, and Baylor and Minnesota win the games the rest of the way. How do you warrant ever moving them ahead of Alabama? If they're already not ahead of Alabama now, what's to say they're going to be doing something to put them ahead of Alabama in the future? The future. Because Alabama, they still have Auburn. Let's say Auburn goes out on a tear, and the Auburn Tigers will go out and who is it they play this week? Georgia. That's right. Let's say Auburn beats Georgia. Okay? And then Auburn beats Samford, which they will. Then they're off a week, and then they have Alabama. Okay? What if Alabama beats Auburn, who is probably going to be number 6 or 7 in the college football playoff rankings if they beat Georgia? You know, to me, the easiest, smartest thing to do is if you're undefeated and leading your Power 5 conference, that's where you start the pool of the top teams. If there's more than 4, then you start kind of, all right, let's figure out who's going to be 4 and 5 and 6 if there's 6 undefeated teams. Right now it's LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Minnesota, Baylor. Is that it, right, Rogers? Undefeated Power 5 teams? Those are your top 5 teams. I mean, unless you want to try to explain to Minnesota and Baylor that if you keep Alabama or Georgia or Oregon ahead of them this week, well, what do we have to do to stay a bit ahead of them? They've lost. We haven't. Minnesota, we just beat number 4 Penn State, knocked them from the ranks of the unbeaten. So how are we ever going to get ahead of Alabama if Alabama keeps on winning? How are we going to get ahead of Georgia if they keep on winning? Let's say Georgia beats Auburn this weekend and then runs the table, and then they beat LSU. Then LSU's got 1 loss, but it came in a conference championship game. Oregon's got 1 loss, and it came in their first game of the season. How do you determine who's better in that regard? You know, in that situation, if you start getting into 1-loss teams, and then that's when you can start doing a little bit more resume matching. But as far as undefeated teams, there's not really any decision to make, is there? 9:32 is the time. Rogers, Hampton, and I with you on this lovely Tuesday. So glad that you're hanging around with us on this day. Rogers, you know that Chevyland, they will bring a car to you for you to test drive. And here's the thing that Bubba will tell you. They'll even assess your trade at your house or your office. So let's say you're getting ready to trade in, fill in the blank, because you're looking at a brand new Equinox. Or maybe you're looking at that beautiful 2019 Chevy Colorado, 15% off MSRP. Dude, they'll come out and appraise your trade where you are. I'm telling you, they are service before the sale. Usually, service comes after the sale. Chevyland is putting service before the sale as well. We care about you. They are proving that on a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute basis. Minute by minute by minute by minute. They keep holding on. 7500 Uri Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana. Chevyland. We care about you. Back right after this. The Cleanup Hour, hitting fourth. First Choice Personnel. Make First Choice Personnel your last call. 797-7810. Christmas time, obviously, is a big deal for the folks over at Sports World. They've got your gift ready for that athlete in your family, that coach, that trainer, that student, that you name it. They've got something for everybody at Sports World. From head to toe, they've got your gift giving all squared away. Sports World, 8809 Juella, your local uniform professionals since 1973. Sports World. Dynamite shrimp. That's what they've got at Rotolo's Crafted Crust, fried and tossed in that house-made dynamite sauce. They've got it. You want it. It's dynamite shrimp at Rotolo's Crafted Crust. They've also got a brand new BBQ Big Boy burger that will battle the best of them. And how about a fried buffalo chicken sandwich, a Bill sandwich? They even have shrimp tacos and seared tuna tacos now at Rotolo's Crafted Crust, East 70th in Shreveport. Holiday season is here, and that means holiday pictures, right? The family's gathering, friends are gathering, everyone wants to take a photo. Hey, why aren't you smiling? Oh, the teeth hurt. Yeah, that can be taken care of. Got a tooth problem? We know the tooth doctors. Cormier Family Dentistry, 868-4072. Make that holiday picture really sizzle this year. Cormier Family Dentistry, 868-4072.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and incredible news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Employee pricing! That's right. Employee Pricing Plus at the Black Friday sales event is happening all month long at Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. On select 2019 models, you can get Employee Pricing Plus all manufacturers rebates. This is literally a once-in-a-decade kind of deal. Seriously, last time Chrysler did this, I was in middle school. And we're expecting this to help us blow past our November sales record. So you better act fast, because once these cars are gone, they're gone. Look, if you're driving a 2019 or a 2020 Chevy Silverado and you absolutely hate it, congratulations, you qualify for an extra $1,500 in total savings. So come see us today at Landers Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram I-220 Benton Road in Bossier City. And remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you probably pay too much.
Holiday season is here. Everyone's going to do their little Christmas shopping, some online, some in person. We know how that goes. Don't want to harsh your mellow, but dude, seriously, there could be some bad people out there trying to steal your account, trying to get into your checking account. That's why we love GBT, the great banking team. Anything looks a little out of whack, we get a text from GBT. Hey, did you guys make this purchase? And if it's yes, all is well. If it's no, bad news for the bad guys. GBT, the great banking team, they always have your back. The Mudbugs are ready for you. Come on out. If you've never seen a Mudbugs game, you've got the golden opportunity awaiting in December. Every single weekend, Mudbugs hockey on ice, Georges Pond, Hirsch Coliseum, 636-7094, mudbugshockey.com. The Cleanup Hour, hitting fourth. First Choice Personnel. Make First Choice Personnel your last call. 797-7810.
1130 The Tiger, Shreveport's home for sports.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:30 The Tiger. We actually watched this music video the other night. This is a good song. Yeah. The bass player, the drummer, they're so weird. The two girls, just so weird. It was the 80s, though. A house of mirrors with a flock of seagulls wandering around in a house of mirrors. And we ate it up, man. 9:37 the time. Welcome back, everybody. 11:30 The Tiger. Tim Fletcher Show reminding you the Cantina Laredo and the shops at Belle Meade on Uri Drive, the CL on the DL. I love their combination dinners, the combinaciones. How do you say combination in Espanol?
Oh, I don't know.
Combinaciones? Oh, buddy. The Puerto Vallarta, the Acapulco. Oh, they're so tasty, so delicious, so wonderful. Always so fresh, always just right. And the way they've got the heaters out there, dude, you can still have patio dining today at Cantina Laredo. Gourmet Mexican food has been thriving in our area for 15 years now, thanks to Cantina Laredo. The shops at Belle Meade on Uri Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana. Boom. Bayou Bellway's Trash Text line. If I was the Arkansas coach, I'd buy all the players that quit on me a honey-baked ham. $277,000 a month for 3 years. Thank you very much, Arkansas.
Honey, please get me a honey-baked ham.
Yeah. One more Showtime says, Bama has a real solid chance to lose to Auburn because of Auburn's defense. I think it'll be within 3, but Auburn has a real good chance to win. Yeah, I think so, too. It's going to be weird to watch the weirdo down the stretch because Auburn has got everything to play for outside of really a playoff shot. 2 losses, I don't think they're going to get in. But, dude, they beat Georgia and they beat Alabama. How do you not retain Gus Malzahn as your head coach at Auburn? But you lose to Georgia. If they lose to Georgia this week, I expect talks to ramp up. Here's the thing we're not thinking about with Arkansas's head coaching vacancy, or at least a lot I've kind of forgotten about until earlier this morning. Dude, that early signing period, you better get somebody in quickly to try to save whatever commitments you've got, or you're going to have one ungodly, horrible recruiting class for 2020. So they got to get on the stick. The Jones wants to know if the Alabama-Auburn game is at Auburn, and it is. It is at Auburn. It is on the Plains. 9:40. Snakes on a plane! Billy joins us on the Mudbucks Hockey Hotline. Oh! Billy's on the phone! Hello, Billy. What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. Hey, Fletch. How you doing today?
I'm good, man.
All right. First thing on the Saints real quick. I think what we got here is why you hate to have a bye. I mean, I know we're all saying, oh, they're going to get healthy, they're going to get this. I'm going to tell you what happened on this game, Fletch. And this just shows you how close NFL football teams are. One team dedicates itself on a 1-7 coming off of a bye. We're going to do everything we can to try to save our season. The other team says, well, we're having a great season, and, we can just ride in the Super Bowl almost. And I really believe that those first 2 drives that Atlanta had, they get a field goal and a touchdown on their first 2 drives. Isn't that the way it turned out?
I think so. Sounds right.
Well, on those first 2 drives, here you are and you're taking up. The one thing I remember watching this game, when they got the ball forever. And if they needed 3rd and 3, they got 4. If it was 3rd and 4, they got 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just barely went down the field, like you see sometimes NFL teams do, and just eating up the clock doing it. And I really believe you could feel it, you could hear it in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
It was harder and harder for the Saints fans to say, stop them, please, this time. Oh, you didn't do it. Okay.
Right.
And the noise even started deafening down. So everybody was going, what is happening here? Why can't we get off the field? So that to me was, and now Atlanta, going to Atlanta is going to be a tough game to win. They will, you watch, they will do some things, and maybe this week they come out and they just stink. But if they don't, then next thing you know, you're the worst. This is a team that's dedicated itself, and this is what happens when you come off a bye and you're not ready to play. What's your take?
I was expecting a little more explosiveness, obviously, from the Saints. Saints also had a 25% conversion rate on third down, so that's why drives were quick out of there. Defense had to get back on the field. Billy, as a Saints fan, an unabashed Saints fan, I am hopeful that this was just
I know.
It's 17 weeks of football.
I know. But you know what? One thing that's got to happen?
What's that?
Ted Ginn has to catch the football.
Yeah, Smith and Ginn had catchable balls, and but Ginn.
And there was one deep one where he got both. Both hands were on the football.
I know, and
it just
they don't have that
hands,
great.
And it was like it could have turned that whole game around, because at that time it was right when they'd come back after Atlanta had scored the 10 points, if I remember.
Yeah.
And then there was, it was still very close during that time. And he missed a play that you just can't not miss in the NFL when you get a 40 or 50-yard pass play. And the guy hits you, right on the button,
Right.
All right. Now, I've been kind of putting this off, Fletch, and all of this, but I got some personal news for you and all of this. I want to go on.
All right. Fire away, buddy.
I got married in 2012.
I did.
And
we were very happy.
Yeah, and we've been married for 7 years.
Yes.
And when I said I'm retiring,
yes,
then I had a decision to make, and I've made this some time ago, and we've been working on it ever since, and all of this. But in the next 2 weeks, I'm leaving the country. All right.
Now, you've gone overseas before. You've gone overseas before to visit her family and to visit her home country.
Right. But this time we're going over there to stay.
Are you really?
Yes, I am. We are. I have already done things personally to set us up to where I can, have a certain amount of, expenses that goes here that I can withdraw from to over there. You're literally living it through the computer in some ways. Okay, you know how you go green,
right,
Fletch, on everything.
Right.
Well, I'm so green and all of this, I don't even think I would get mail anymore.
Wow.
All right, because you have to do that. You literally are living off the computer. In other words, all the funds that you have, everything like that, you literally, so you can pull it out and send it over there when you need it.
So, are you going to maintain any residence over here whatsoever? Are you going to sell?
The only reason that I am, Fletch, at this time is because I tried to put the house on the market, and it's a bad time now.
Yeah.
And it didn't sell. So at this moment, I'm renting the house.
Okay.
So, but if those plans may change, then, and then because that's kind of like my okay. Well, if we really don't like it living there,
right?
But then we just go on and we'll move back. All right, and then my wife will get a job and this, because I'm retired. I'm not coming back one way or the other. I'm not going back to work one way or the other.
Okay.
We have a house over there.
All right, that's what I thought. I thought you had said before that you guys had purchased a house or were looking to purchase a house.
Yeah, we had purchased.
And this is in the Philippines?
In the Philippines.
Right. So you've already got a house.
We have their residential style house over there. And, and they're, they kind of, it's the secure area where they, it's kind of like a regular residential looking neighborhood. Like if you looked at it, you just say, "Oh, that's America," except the houses look different. Except it's the Philippines,
And didn't you say the cost of living over there is just minuscule compared to here?
On some things, Fletch, it's just ridiculous. I mean, me and my wife and the 2 kids can go out and at a restaurant and eat seafood, whatever we wanted to, and spend less than, spend $20.
Wow. Now,
yeah.
she had a child when you guys got married. How old is that child now?
She is 11.
11.
Naomi, she's
and
11.
You and your wife had a baby, and how old
right?
is?
And he's almost 6.
What? He's almost 6
it
now?
goes fast, Pledge.
Holy moly! I was going to guess 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
In December, he'll be 6. He's 5 right now.
Good grief!
Yeah.
That blows me away, Billy. I really was going to say,
But
okay.
I've already bought the plane ticket. I mean, we leave out of Shreveport 2 weeks from today.
Wow. Are you excited about this?
Oh, yeah. This is really, Fletch, the truth about it is I have no family here.
Right.
All right. My mother and father and brother have passed.
Okay.
And she has 7 or 8 brothers and sisters over there. She's got family. I don't. We're pretty well here. In other words, we go as 4. In other words, everywhere.
Right.
In other words, it's either I stay home and they just go, or because we don't do babysitters, we don't do this. I mean, we all go to the movies, we all go to the restaurants. We do it as 4. In other words, and she's got friends, Filipino friends over here, and I got a few friends over here, but not really. In other words, nobody that I would. I'm just saying. You know what I mean. You just know them, but you don't.
There's no personal tie here to someone who's going to be like,
There's
man,
no
I'm
personal
going to miss
tie here left.
Visiting with this person on a daily basis, which, of course, nowadays, visiting on a daily basis is a Skype away or is a computer, whatever you want to do.
Right.
WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just get on there and I'll listen. What few kin folks that I do have, I mean, bam, you can just, Skype them in a second.
Yes.
In other words, it's 12 hours difference over there. So right now it would be it'd be like 9 o'clock p.m. 9 something p.m. 10 o'clock p.m.
You get along with her family.
Wonderfully. Yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Like
Is there a language barrier, Billy, when you get over there?
No. They all speak English.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, they all speak English. Matter of fact, the whole country it's taught. It's taught to the kids.
I knew that it was taught. I should know if they, spoke native language or whatever. Billy, when you first got married, okay, or when you first started this process of trying to, when you wanted to find you a beautiful bride, you certainly have found one that is, obviously has made a lot of your dreams come true.
No doubt.
Did you foresee living in a foreign land? I mean, was that like a long-term plan of yours, that long-term goal, I'm going to retire at, how old are you, Billy?
Right now I'm 62.
I'm going to retire at 62. I'm going to have my state retirement. I'm going to have my Social Security. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go live wherever I've met this beautiful woman. We're getting married. Like 8 years ago, were you thinking that this was going to be the plan?
No. What happened is as long as my father was alive, there's you couldn't have pulled me out of here.
Right.
All right. And as long as my kin folks, and if my brother was still alive, no way.
Right.
It comes to the point to where you look around and you say, there's not much here for me, but there's other things over there. Okay.
Sure. Especially
in other words, you get down to the point in all this to where you're just saying, okay, there's nobody left but our families, and sometimes that's all there is,
Yeah.
So that's what you end up doing, Fletch. And no, I would have never done this, but as it just seemed like no. Well, maybe
yeah. Dude, I get it. I really do get it. At some point, I think we all kind of come to those big tipping points as far as big decisions of what's the most important thing for me right now in my family.
Right, and it's the same thing I know that you've done, with changing for Channel 3. You could have just been a newscaster. Okay, let's move over here. Let's do this.
Sure.
No, let's do a radio station. Let's do this. I mean, you make those decisions and you see how it goes, and you're doing them because it's good for you. You know what I'm trying to say?
And it's something that has made me closer to my kids and my wife than I could ever have imagined. I mean, it really has. So I don't look back on it with any regret, and I don't think you're going to look back on this with any regret. You seem
no.
As they say on Friday Night Lights, clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever, and I think that's what you got.
You can never leave America to start out with. I can
Right.
tell you that. You can't leave America. In other words, you just can't draw all your funds out and get on a plane and leave with your cash or your money or this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to ask the state of Louisiana to send the check over to the Philippines. It just ain't going to happen. It goes into an American account and then I pull it out. Okay?
Right.
You can't ask, if you live in a foreign country, you always, the IRS never forgets where you're at. I have to pay taxes in America, way over there. I mean, even if Elizabeth Warren is president, wants half my salary. You know.
Billy got a couple of comments for you here, okay? What city in North Philippines, EH wants to know? Gonna miss you. You caller legend, starting off with JJ and Bonsai in 92, and you still got to call in. What city in North Philippines are you, or in the Philippines?
In Philippines, it's called General Santos, GENERALSANTOS, General Santos. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of like the size. It's about the size of Shreveport Bossier. It's
really?
It's like that kind of size.
All right. Turd Ferguson says he's got a picture of the Jeffersons moving on up in 2 weeks. So Billy moving on up. Bucko, Billy's leaving the country. Thanks a lot, Obama. Doggone it. Captain Hook, hopefully Billy will listen to the app and call in from time to time. Going to miss his calls. Good luck, Billy.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I got a couple more weeks, and then, as we get closer, in other words, I just kind of wanted to let you know. It just seemed like a good time with the LSU win.
Yes.
That's the only thing I am going to have to scratch and claw to get all the information here in the future. Because I promise you, nobody over there knows that LSU beat Alabama.
No, they don't. This is why you need to download the 1130 The Tiger app, Billy.
Right,
download it on your phone, and we can get to you. And a couple more things here for you, Billy. People are certainly very happy for you. Good for Billy. New reality series, Billy in Philly.
Yeah, well.
And then we also had one, hold on, this was Two Coats, enjoy your retirement, Billy. I don't always agree with your views, but I love to hear your insight. Thanks for all the calls, Billy.
Right.
And then we had one that said something about, I don't know, oh, heck, hold on. Dang, Billy needs to teach me. 56 and still making babies. So he got that right. That's the way we grow them down here in North Louisiana, doggone it.
No, Fletch, the way I've always looked at this is I'm just a tool for your and great shows and JJ and Bonsai. I always look at this is the last bastion of sports in this area. Is these call-in shows? I mean, we're just trying to keep sports alive in Shreveport Bossier, and the Mud Bugs do that. I mean, there are people that have been trying ever since that I've been able to be in this area, I mean, to try to keep local sports and local talk alive around here. And it has been my pleasure to talk to you and,
Pleasure's been
all of
mine.
these years.
I love you,
All
Billy,
right.
and I don't want to
Take it easy.
we got 2 more weeks. We got 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks to talk.
All right.
I just let you know.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Good to hear from you, Billy. Holy moly, that's a bombshell. Good grief. Mary says Billy can still listen every day on the app and probably call free on an internet phone. Draco, good luck, Billy. Roll Tide. Hope to get another shot at you in the playoff. Wow, a bombshell from Billy. Didn't see that coming today, Rogers. Get a call from Billy, can't get skipped. Just a reminder to Billy to call us every day. We appreciate our wonderful sponsors. Don't forget $2 Taco Tuesday is going on over at Jimmy V's Fajita Factory. $2 tacos all day long. Yummy, yummy, yummy for my tummy, tummy, tummy. No Netherton show today, but we do have Hanging with Hester 1 to 3, and of course Sports Talk with JJ and Ben 5 to 6. Let's see what they have to say about the college football rankings. They won't be out by the time they hit the air, but I'm sure they've got their opinions. Officer Payne, rest in peace. Thomas LaValle, badge 1284. TLV, our dear friend. Love and miss you. Rest in peace, TLV. All right, kids.
Bye. In Louisiana, there are thousands of miles of utility lines and gas pipelines buried just beneath the surface, sometimes multiple lines in one area. So if you or a contractor you hire is digging a hole to put in a new fence or a pool or for any other reason, you run the risk of hitting underground lines even by digging just a few inches. And then what happens? Maybe you knock out power to your neighborhood, and sometimes it's even worse. Sometimes there's an explosion with injuries or possibly even death. It does happen every year, and there's a simple way to avoid it. Before you dig, call 811. That's right, just call 811 2 days before you dig and tell the operator your address. Someone will come out and mark the locations of the buried lines so you and your contractor can avoid them. It's simple, right? And it's free of charge. And it's the law. Louisiana One Call operates 811 as a public service, and to promote public safety, Louisiana One Call and 1130 The Tiger reminds you, call 811 and know what's below before you dig.
Not quite ready for the holidays? Warm up to the season with McCafe donut sticks with chocolate dipping sauce and go from this.
Okay, Janice, I'm going to need you to take your holiday spirit from a 10 to a 2 before I pop your inflatable snowman.
To this.
Janice, these holiday decorations are a revelation. Oh, want to wear our matching light-up sweaters to the tree lighting ceremony tonight?
Warm up to the holidays with light flaky donut sticks, now with new chocolate dipping sauce and the cinnamon cookie latte only from McCafe. Good is brewing. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made